one is the first one, not P or B or F, okay? Now, which one of these should I use as a second line? Well, notice this disjunction starts with the box, and the next thing is a conditional that starts with the same thing as the first disjunct. So the first disjunct is a not P, so I'm gonna look for a conditional that starts with the not P, and that's this one right here. So I'm gonna write this as line 2, not P, then X, and then I get the leftover is B or F, then Y, okay? And we're trying to get to X or Y. Okay, so circle, start with boxes, box, then circle, where I have a not P as a box, so that would be a box, and this is something new, so let's call it a triangle, try to make it fit. So P, B or F is a circle, so that's a circle. This is something new. We're trying to make it fit, so we'll call it a diamond, and then we get this or that, and that matches this, so it is a substitution instance. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so that was 5A. Let me look at 5B. Not P, then X, and 2 is B or F, then not Y, and 3 is not P or B or F, and then the conclusion is not X or Y. Okay. So the first thing I need a disjunction, so that should come first, and then I would need a conditional that starts with a not P. So this would be 1, this would be 2, and this would be 3 if I'm reordering them. Okay. But I'm not even going to go that far because I noticed something right off the bat. The conclusion needs to be a disjunction. Does everybody understand that? Our conclusion here is what? This one is not a disjunction, it is a negation. Does everybody understand that? The main operator here is a negation. So we need a blank or blank, and we don't have that. We have a not something. So this is not a substitution instance. Does everybody understand that? We would need, the conclusion would need to be not X or not Y. Now you might say to yourself, I guess I should have done this out, isn't this and that the same thing? And the answer is no. I know in mathematics you can push the negation through. Does everybody understand that? But here in logic you can't. If you push the negation through, you do get a not X, but the or would change to an and then you would get a not Y. And certainly, this is not the same as a disjunction. Does everybody understand that? Okay. So one thing to remember, you cannot push negations through parentheses, not in a simple way. Does everybody understand that? Okay. So that is not the same as not X or not Y. Okay, so which one was this? Was this part B or part C? This was B. Okay, and now look at C. We're going to do C. Okay, C. This is 5C. We have P and Q. 2 is P, then X, 3 is Q, then Y, and we're trying to get to X or Y. The first thing we need is a box or circle, right? Do we have a disjunction in any of our premises? No, because line 1 is an and. Does everybody understand that? We don't have a disjunction, so we can't even get started. So this is not a substitution instance. That would have to be an or for it to work. Everybody understand that? So you have to look at the details. I'm not trying to be tricky, but you have to look at the details to determine whether or not it's a substitution instance or not. Okay? So that's it as far as these substitution instances. I think, unless you have any questions about any particular ones of these. Okay? All right, so let's skip forward. We are not doing 2.3, but that does take us to 2.4, and I want to explain some things. And I'm going to use math as an analogy, although I just told you that math breaks down as a good analogy with those pushing the negations through. Okay. If we had a mathematical sentence like 3 plus 4 divide 17, we would know the order of operations because we have an implicit order of operations in mathematics. It's what? PIMDAS, is that what it is? Okay. But suppose that we don't, because in logic we don't. If we didn't have an order of operations, we wouldn't know whether we were supposed to do this, 3 plus 4 divided by 17, or if we were supposed to do 4 divided by 17 plus 3. Does everybody understand that? We're going to get different answers depending on the order, okay? So in logic, there is no order of operations, not even left to right. So the order of operations has to be clarified by parentheses. Does everybody understand that? And we all know that you work from the innermost parentheses outward. Does everybody understand that? Okay. Okay, so there's no order of operations, so the parentheses got to make it clear. And then also, look, if someone said, hey, solve this for me, 3 and 4, what would you say? What do you want me to do with it, right? Add, divide, subtract. So if there's no mathematical operator, you don't know what to do. Similarly, if you had two statement constants without a logical operator in between them, you would not know what to do with it. Does everybody understand that? And if a statement is logically ambiguous like this, so someone said A, B, you would say this is not a well-formed formula, okay? Okay. Similarly, if someone did this and they said, okay, 3 plus divide 17, you would say, what? There needs to be something in between the plus and the divide and more parentheses. Does everybody understand this? All right, so that would be logically ambiguous. So something like this, A and then Q makes no sense. Does everybody understand that? Because we have two logical operators and we need something in between here. And then we would need parentheses to sort out which one goes first. The only time you can have one operator followed by another is when you have a negation. So like this is perfectly okay because we know we do the negation and then we would do the addition. Okay. Okay, so there's that. Let me see if there's anything else I need to explain. Okay. In mathematics, if we had 3 plus 4 times 27, we would do this first and then we would do the multiplication last, okay? So since we do the multiplication last, we would say that this is a multiplication. Does everybody understand that? And the main mathematical operator would be the very last one that you did. Similarly, in logic, if we had A and B or C, you'd have to work from inside the brackets out, and then so you do this, and then the last thing you would do is the OR. So we would say the OR is the main logical operator, and that statement, even though it's got ands in it, you would say is a disjunction. Does everybody understand that? Okay. So on 2.4, I give you a bunch of statements, and you have to tell me whether or not they're logically ambiguous or not. If they're ambiguous, you say not a well-formed formula. If it makes sense, if you know the order of operations, you'd say it's a well-formed formula, and if it is a well-formed formula, you're going to tell me what the main logical operator is. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so I'm going over 2.4, okay? Not Z, is that a well-formed formula? Well, we know the order of operations. We do this to the not Z and then we'd be done. So it is a well-formed formula. And what's the main operator? Well, there's only one operator, so the main operator, main logical operator is the negation. Okay, let's look at 2. 2 says not Z or Q. Do we know the order of operations? Well, we would do the not Z part first, and then we would take that result and do the OR with it. We don't know what it means to calculate, but I'm just using by analogy with mathematics. So the last operation we would do would be the OR. So we know the order of operations, so it's a well-formed formula, and we know that the main logical operator would be a disjunction. 3, not Z or Q. Would I understand how to solve this? Yes, I work from inside the brackets, and then I would do the negation. So it is perfectly clear, so it is a well-formed formula. What is the main logical operator, people? What?
The negation.
The negation, right, because we do this first, then we would negate it. So negation would be the main logical operator. 4, suppose we have not Z or Q, then P. Is this a sensible statement? Do we know the order of operations? No, we don't, because we don't know whether we should do not Z or Q first or Q then P first. Does everybody understand that? We need parentheses in there, okay? Since there are no parentheses telling us what operation needs to be done first, this is not a well-formed formula, and therefore it doesn't even make sense to talk about a main logical operator. Okay, 5, not Z,